Hi, Dylan.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, good.
Very
Good.
good.
All right, it looks like we're recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our presentation today. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. Doctor's business is always, unfortunately, knows no clock. So thank you very much for your patience today. I appreciate it, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about detox, and we're going to be talking a little bit about, what does that mean? It's a new year. It's a new time for everyone. And, it's something that, people are interested in, kind of want to know what is detox, and, what does it mean for me, and how can it help me with health? I want to thank Dylan Pate here for joining us today. He is a representative with Ortho Molecular. I've always been impressed with Ortho Molecular's products. When I first started my practice, I was looking for products that I knew I could rely on as a physician. And, Ortho Molecular definitely says a lot to their quality and their purity. I always like to tell the story that oftentimes, patients we may not always like this, I may not always like this, but sometimes the supplements are just not available because they don't meet the quality standards that Ortho Molecular has. And so sometimes, they're on back order, we have to wait, but that's because we're making sure that those supplements are the true quality that they are. So I'm glad to be working with you guys, and you guys have a really impressive product that we often talk to people about as far as, doing a more herbal type of a detox. So I'm going to talk first here today. And Dylan will go ahead and speak after me, and then we'll kind of at the end answer any questions that anybody may have. So please feel free to type in any questions that you may have as we're going through the webinar today. So first, why detox? I mean, why, why would you be interested in doing this at all for your health? Why are you here today? Well, there are, a lot of toxins out there in the environment, and we're going to talk a little bit about what those are. And you have a lot of organs in your body that are designed to help you to be able to remove things that don't serve you. So what we're trying to do with the detox is get those parts of your body working better, more efficiently, maybe even sort of in high gear, so that they can do what they need to do. Detox supports your body. It helps create the more optimal environment for your cells. And, it brings a mindfulness to your health. So I like to cut it down to, 4 detox principles. I like to keep it simple whenever I'm talking about, what you want to try to achieve if you decide to do a detox program. Detox programs can run 7 days, they can run a month. Some people will even do it longer if they've got serious medical problems. But for most of us, when we're looking at doing it, we're probably looking at doing it a week to 3 weeks. So the first thing is we want to reduce the toxins that we actually bring in. I think the second important part is getting a good diet going when we're doing this, and what exactly is a good diet for it. And then number 3, I consider the nutritional prescription, and those are really the herbals that we put together to keep the organs in high gear. And then what do we do for maintenance? So, what can you do to, reduce your exposure? There's a lot of different toxins out there, and they're in a lot of different sneaky places. And I know, Dylan may go over this a little bit more with his talk, but I like to just skim the surface of it as a reminder to people is, I tend to try to remind people that we can get a lot of toxins in as women, especially through cosmetics. And, there's a lot of colorings and preservatives and various things in the products that we put on our face on a daily basis. The skin is an organ, and it absorbs, a lot of things from the outside world, and it is that barrier. So I try to tell people to look for plant-based, cosmetics. They may not last as long. They may not be as vibrant in color, but they certainly are going to probably be healthier for you. So those are just some of the favorites. Gabriel, Zuzu, Pacifica. These are things that you can get on Amazon, and are a lot better environmentally sound. The second thing that I always tell people about is personal care products. I mean, there's even things, unfortunately, that we use in medicine that have, a lot of petroleum-based products. And so, trying to just be mindful. Certainly there are times when you have to use certain personal care products, for a certain reason, and there really isn't a good substitute. But there's a lot of times where we can find something. So, be careful about mineral oil and Vaseline. That is a petroleum-based product. And, here is a list of some other, ingredients to be on the lookout for when you're, purchasing products. The other thing that, I like to mention too is, and I'm missing the slide. I'll go back to this one here, is, scents and perfumes. There are a lot of things like candles and, fragrances and Febreze and stuff like that make things smell beautiful. But unfortunately, there's a lot of chemicals that are based in that and allow those things to do. So, I think if people want to, enhance the smell of their room, I really look towards essential oils and aromatherapy and using something more like that to be able to do that and to try to avoid some of the other things. And then, just a word on plastics, not to make everybody here as we're talking about detox, paranoid about everything that you do, but it's more just to kind of gradually bring your awareness to it. I try to tell people to avoid plastic. Unfortunately, I have a 6-year-old, and, he's going to break things, And so, we've gotten away a lot from glass containers. We use Tupperware, we use plastic wrap, we use sandwich bags and stuff like that. And so, for my son, certainly when I send him to lunch, it's not practical sometimes to be able to send him with a glass container. But, I will wrap things in wax paper and then put them in a plastic bag so that the food doesn't touch. Again, plastics are petroleum based. Trying to look for the BPA free and phthalate free things that I have to use, but trying to use glass and other things like that. And certainly when I'm heating food or freezing food, putting food at different temperatures, trying to avoid those types of plastic products, because plastic is unstable as a chemical as you begin to change the temperatures. So that, kind of runs through, and I'm happy to answer questions and specific questions about that. And I know Dylan may have even a little more than I do on that. But those are just, to me, some big sort of picture things that when you're looking at, kind of going through the things that you want to reduce your tox exposure, because it doesn't pay to go through this whole program and fast and do all these things, if we don't try to work on, reducing what we're bringing in to begin with. So the next part obviously is the diet part. I mean, when we're talking about doing a detox program, I mean, what, type of diet, what things and parts of that we're going to do when we're looking at doing that. So, one of the big things that I talk about is intermittent fasting. That is a big, it is a big thing. It's not up here on my slide, but it is definitely, here it is. It's definitely a big thing that has emerged, I think, over the past couple of year to 2 years as, a new way that we have found that really helps to support the gut. And so, a lot of times for most people, fasting completely for a day is difficult. For some people, it's not. Certainly, there's a lot of cultures that have. And, what we find with the fasting is that it really gives that gut a rest, and it really allows the body to, creates a lot of changes in our hormones with doing that really enable the body to be able to work and the gut to work more efficiently. So, I think when we're talking about intermittent fasting, I think that is just really a great tool to use when we're talking about detoxing. So if you can't fast, for a day, typically the Ortho Molecular program recommends fasting for the first day. At least maybe consider doing an intermittent fast while you're doing this. So, I would say, I know it's a little bit off the playbook, but, consider eating, just for 8 hours in a day, while you're doing a fast, and then fasting for the rest of the time. So, for a lot of people, that is something more that they can work with. When you are doing a diet, try to eat organic as much as you can, as much as you can afford. I put a website up there, the environmentalworkinggroup.org, and they have a great guidance as far as, it's hard. You can't necessarily afford all your food to be organic all the time, but they have what they call the Clean 13 and the Dirty Dozen, if you haven't heard of that already. And, that's a great guideline by which to pick, what type of, food, organic food that you kind of want to follow on a diet. And then fiber. Fiber is just so important. It scrubs, the gut of a lot of different things. And so it's just a great thing to make sure that you're incorporating plenty of that when you're doing it. And then as far as the type of diet, I still kind of try to aim people towards a good Mediterranean plant-based diet while they're on this type of program. I know, I definitely talked to some people about the keto diet or the Whole Foods 30 diet. And I know that those are really good diets too. And I recommend them, but I feel like when you're doing a detox, you really want to do a plant-based diet. So I encourage people that if you do want to follow more of a keto-like diet, you should do a vegan keto diet. It's tough. It's not easy. You can do it though. So you can do a plant-based heavy protein keto diet if you feel like that is better for you than doing, more of a Mediterranean diet. Certainly you could always do a low carb Mediterranean diet as well. So those are the kinds of things that I recommend to people as far as diet goes. So, talking about the nutritional prescription, there are the main organs that are involved in detox, there's a lot of organs in our body that are involved in elimination. We tend to think about the liver, and that's the biggest, and that's primarily the biggest one that we'll talk a little bit about here today. But remember, there are a lot of different organs that are involved in detox. So one of them, besides the liver, is the gut. And so making sure that we're, moving things through the gut appropriately. Obviously, our kidneys and our bladder are also important. So that's where everybody talks about making sure you drink plenty of water and good, water that's clean from impurities. But also our lungs are also detox. We let out carbon dioxide and get rid of things that don't serve us there as well. So, those are, all organs that are part of us eliminating and get rid of things. So this is a slide that I always like to show, and I know it's going to be in Dylan's, but it kind of talks about the orthomolecular products, and it talks about, in a sense, what their particular detox is trying to do. So, we're looking at saying, okay, we've talked about, eliminating things that don't serve us, we've talked about, okay, what type of diet do we want to be on when we're trying to detox? So the third, important thing is, okay, what can we do to maximize, the nutrition that our body is, has, so that it can work better and make the liver work better. So as you can see here in this slide, there are quite a few nutrients that are involved in the liver working very efficiently. And Ortho Molecular has designed their products to incorporate these nutrients in there, as well as several key herbals that are very important. Some of those herbals include green tea, milk thistle, glycine, and they're really, and they're ALA, and there's a lot of different ones that a lot of people have heard of, just sort of using individually. But here they put them all together, in one product that really, works at getting the liver to work in its most efficient manner. And with their program, they usually, what we want to do is start with phase 2 and get that working. So if you can think of the blood flowing in through the liver through phase 1, then it goes into phase 2, part of the enzymes of the liver, and then returns, to your regular bloodstream. We want to make sure that those enzymes phase 2 are working really well first before we go to phase 1. Otherwise, if we start at phase 1 and we get things working really efficiently, we kind of, in a sense, have a block, and then things are building back up. So in the program that typically Ortho Molecular uses, their products, the powder usually is involved in efficiently working that phase 2 first, and then the capsules work phase 1. So there's an order to it. And then the alpha base is the vitamins and the nutrients that we're working on replacing. And so their products come with a handbook that kind of, helps to guide you through all of this. So going back, so those are kind of all of the, sort of nutritional, prescription things that I, typically recommend. I will make a little quick talk about going beyond, what Dylan and Ortho Molecular has. Sometimes we have people, with medical conditions where the herbal sort of way of detoxing isn't quite enough. And so, there are things that if we do a program like this and we haven't achieved what we want, there are some medical prescriptions that I can always talk about as far as going beyond that. We do IV glutathione in our office, which is a powerful liver sort of enzyme, inducer, and it really gets the liver enzymes going. We also, there are our oral chelation protocols. So if we're concerned about heavy metal toxicity, if we're concerned about toxicity beyond, what we're able to just get moving with the liver, then, we have, and I have some oral chelation protocols that we can do. Usually when we're doing stuff like that, though, we typically want to get some type of blood work. So, Usually I'm doing some of the alternative labs like Genova or ZRT labs that we have at our office in order to be able to, assess if we need to do something more intense. The protocol from Ortho Molecular is perfectly safe and to do no matter what. So even if you have no medical issues and you just want to feel a little bit better, it's great. If you're looking at weight loss and you're stuck doing this protocol, they can't guarantee weight loss, but often can help people with that. And it's safe to do, and certainly if there's any concerns, I can always run through what medicines you're on and make sure of that for our patients. But it is always just safe and easy to do. Some of these other things, it would be more of a deeper conversation in considering labs to do for anybody that's interested. So, my last sort of little bit, because I don't want to take up too time, is, make sure that, detox is not, just about, detoxing the body. It's also about detoxing, your self and supporting your whole, self. As a holistic doctor, we're today here focused on talking about detox as it relates to the body, but also sort of eliminating what doesn't serve you in a physical sense. But I always challenge all my patients to look at what doesn't serve you in an emotional sense or spiritual sense. And, doing once a year, focusing on detox as a whole and evaluating yourself, not only from a body standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint, a relationship standpoint, and spending a few minutes or some time meditating on that or thinking about that in your life, I think is a great practice for everybody to do. Some people do it in the new year. That's why we always kind of have this talk at the new year. Some people do it in the spring, but I think it's worth, to kind of think about and evaluate yourself. So, remember, it's about balancing the mind and the spirit. So, supporting the body with good, diet on a regular basis, making sure you're getting exercise, and then really look at balancing your mind, body, and spirit, Tai Chi, meditation, making sure you get enough sleep, and building your energy from that standpoint is important as well. So, Dylan, I know, so that kind of concludes my, half of the presentation here. I know I have a few questions real quickly. I'm going to just answer them briefly, real quick, and then I'll let you kind of go on, Dylan, to some of your side of the talk. Should you be doing intermittent fasting indefinitely? You can. So far, studies don't show that there is anything wrong with doing intermittent fasting indefinitely. As long as you're, maintaining your nutrition in the 8 hours a day, there's nothing wrong with doing it indefinitely. And some people just feel better with it. What do I recommend for getting fiber? Outside of, obviously trying to eat a lot of vegetables and fruits that are high in fiber, I also recommend people do some psyllium powder. If you don't feel that you're quite getting enough with that, then I recommend some psyllium powder. So psyllium husk is, usually that's known as benefiber or metamucil, and to take that, on a regular basis, just to make sure that you're getting enough fiber. And I will let Dylan talk about, there's a question about, are these products sugar-free or low carb? And I'll let you speak to that, Dylan, as you sort of go over them and what they're all about. So.
Yep. Okay. Well, awesome. Dr. Truty, can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm.
Very good. All right. Well, we'll get started here. Well, again, as everybody knows now, my name is Dylan. I work with Ortho Molecular Products, and I'm one of the representatives that works with Dr. Truty. Tonight is really about information that I'm going to share to help you guys on your personal health journey and why a detox might be right for you. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but in your lifetime, on average lifetime, you can consume around 30 to 50 tons of food. So think about all the additives, dyes, preservatives, colors, and things that are in our food supply. But from an environmental standpoint, what about all the toxins we're exposed to? What about all the chemical exposures we're having in our cleaning products, skincare products, or just anything we're touching on a daily basis? Obviously, all these things are affecting our health and our well-being. We can't control a lot of things in our environment nowadays. Our bodies are really not built for the environment we live in, but let's work on controlling the controllables that we do have. So obviously tonight we're talking about the liver, right? So here's a great visual that really shows you how our liver is working. So the amount of toxins your body can handle in a single day, it represents this glass of water right here. But as we go throughout our day and as we keep going, our liver can only handle so much. So I would keep going there, but I don't want to spill this water all over the ground. So with that being said, whenever our liver is hit its maximum burden on the body for the day, where all those toxins go? So they are very fat soluble. Most toxins are. So what that means said is when our liver cannot, go through and digest these properly and eliminate them through the body, they're going to go to fat soluble tissue, whether it be under our arms, our bellies, our thighs, places that are undesired, right? So tonight, again, we're going to be talking about revitalizing the healthy liver function and reducing the toxic burden that you're getting your liver functioning properly, right? To put your mind at ease, if I can do this, anybody can do it. It's very easy. It's only a 7-day detox, and you're not going to feel bad like you've heard on other detoxes that we've seen before. So this is really an alarming statistic right here. Each of you in a course of a year is going to carry around 14 pounds or be exposed to around 14 pounds of pesticides, herbicides, food additives, and preservatives throughout the year. So imagine going to pick up a 14-pound bowling ball at the bowling lane, and that's how much you're actually going to go through in a single year. So it makes sense that we consider doing something about that rather than letting our liver just detoxify and continue to deal with all these harmful toxins. I like to think of the pillars of GI health as a table. As we all know, a table has 4 legs. And what happens if you cut one of them off a little short? You're going to have an unstable table. The 4 main pillars being the digestion, elimination, microflora balance, and gut integrity. Tonight we're really going to be talking about digestion and elimination, which are really crucial to overall GI health. So this title is titled, Am I Really at Risk? The truth is you really can't live clean enough in our world nowadays. You're exposed to dioxins and PCBs just from outgas and being produced and touching products. Think about it. If you touched a piece of paper today, a pen, inks, paint, furnishings, think about your work or your home environment. Even if you think you're living in a clean environment. Things like byproducts from xylene, which comes from our carpet, and furnishings, styrene from computers, plastics, and bottles. So yes, we're getting exposure to somewhere, whether it be environmentally or internally in our home, for instance. So what about our homes? A lot of people like to think that is our force field. That's where we're most safest. We're really protected from the outside world. But in reality, in our home, we're actually exposed to over 500 chemicals daily. Those are chemicals we're exposed to, and they end up in your bloodstream. Technical difficulty. Here we go. All right. So this is another alarming statistic. It takes an average of only 26 seconds for a chemical in a typical household to enter your bloodstream. So just think about that when you go sit on your couch, tonight. Really, really scary to think about. So whether it gets on your skin or you're breathing in, 26 seconds, it's in your bloodstream, and that creates some sort of burden on your liver. According to the EPA, in our home environment, the air we breathe inside, we would all think outdoor would be actually worse, but actually the indoor air that we're breathing is actually almost 100 times more toxic than the air than we're outside. So if you're ever driving down the highway and you smell the diesel fumes when you have your windows rolled down, your inside home is actually going to be around 100 times more toxic than what you're smelling in just in a simple car ride. So another big thing are internal toxins, which are a huge problem, especially the American standard diet nowadays. And I briefly want to touch on those really quickly. There are good bugs and there's bad bugs in our gut. And those bugs, good little bugs, react with things and create certain beneficial bacteria in our GI tract. Perhaps we've been exposed to a yeast or a fungus over our, in the past year or month or so. Our body is producing these things that create toxicity in your body, and your liver must detoxify it at all times. How many of you feel like you're under stress? Could it be work, financial, home related? The reality or outcome of stress creates enormous amounts of toxins, free radicals, and creates issues for your body that affects all aspects of your life. So why detox? As I kind of segue out of talking about the toxicity in your world, hopefully I've given you guys enough information to convince you that on your health journey, you need to do something about it. You need to be able to have a reset button. And as Dr. Truty mentioned earlier, this is not something you do one time and never do again. We really suggest doing this. I do it at least twice a year. And you can do it up to more than once, twice, once, 3 or 4 times, depending on how toxic you are. And I would definitely talk with your healthcare provider, being Dr. Truty, before you make that decision as well. So if you really haven't had enough information just yet, our own CDC in 2006 reported that we have around 116 out of 148 synthetic compounds found in our bodies. I'm going to drop down a couple points here, which is really just kind of scary to think about. The average umbilical cord contains 217 neurotoxins, 208 of which can actually cause birth defects. So this is very evident in how burdened our detoxification capabilities have become, resulting in the storage of these certain toxins. Again, as I mentioned earlier, our bodies really are not made anymore for the environment we're living in, both environmentally and internally as well. So this slide, I really want you guys to ponder for a little bit, and this is huge for me. Whenever I started ortho, this one kind of caught me by surprise big time. So looking from left to right, if we look at the second bullet point that starts out with dieting, when we're dieting and exercising, what are we really doing? We have all these toxins in storage, as I mentioned, because our liver can only handle so much on a daily basis, but we're not really actually getting rid of these fat cells when we're dieting and exercising. They're just shrinking down and actually increasing in density. So we're losing the actual overall volume, but they're just getting even more and more dense. The body is really interesting because now these toxins are compressed as you've lost a little bit of weight, as you see, but now the concentration of toxins is greater in the body. So now our bodies have a protective mechanism, which is saying, nope, no more. So, if you ever started a diet where you're losing a lot of weight in the first 30 days, but you hit kind of a wall. This is kind of what I'm talking about right here. Our body is saying, nope, no more. I'm not going to let you lose any more weight because this concentrated amount of toxins is not going to come out, and it could be harmful. We don't want our bodies to go into preservation mode. We want to keep losing weight. So we all need to participate in something that is going to be revitalize our liver function so your liver can actually handle the toxins coming out of the fat storage as well. Oop. Give me 1 second. Okay, so as Dr. Truty mentioned a couple times, your liver is broken down into phase 1 and phase 2. When we ingest a toxin into it is a foreign substance. The body's goal is to take that foreign substance and convert it into something that's not harmful to our bodies, so it can be eliminated. And it's going to do that in phase 1. That's where the biotransformation is going to happen. It's going to be called into a intermediate metabolite. The thing you must know about an intermediate metabolite is actually going to be more harmful than the actual original substance or toxins you're putting into your body. How many of you guys have done a detox in the past? And you might experience some sort of headache, nausea. You just feel kind of crabby the first couple of days. It's because that toxin or intermediate metabolite is actually stuck in between phase 1 and phase 2. So we need clearance to be able to take place, and clearance happens in phase 2. Okay. So again, we need the clearance from phase 1 to phase 2. So in phase 2, we have these conjugation pathways that take harmful substances and transform them into a substance that's not harmful and can be excreted either through urine, bile, or stool. So as Dr. Truty mentioned a couple times, your liver needs a couple crucial enzymes and phytonutrients in order for all the fat-soluble toxins to be broken down appropriately. So back to toxins. Toxins deplete the necessary detox nutrients. So none of us know really how many toxins are in different parts of our body, whether it's in our bones, stored in our fat cells. It can be just really all over our body, which most times it is. There was research done by Dr. John Lasseter who found that everyone is different, obviously. So what happens is when we use up all these micronutrients and now our liver can't function properly. So when the liver can't function properly, all these toxins must go into storage. And that's where I'm talking about when our liver cannot handle a certain amount with the glass of water, they have to go to get stored somewhere because they can't just sit in the body and be metabolizing. So this slide is kind of very important, especially nowadays in Western medicine. I heard a really interesting thing on a podcast a couple of days ago, and the Western medicine nowadays at times can be where we find a drug or find a bug rather, and we use a drug. So if you're on a pharmaceutical, I really want you to ponder this slide for a second. What you're going to find is a lot of pharmaceuticals deplete key nutrients that are necessary in that liver to detoxify all these harmful toxins, such as B6, B12, folic acid, magnesium, and all these are play really crucial parts in overall detoxification of these harmful toxins, particularly in the conjugation of hormones. So it's really important that we provide the right nutrition and we get the liver functioning at its optimal capacity. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Core Restore program. This is offered in a 7-day and a 14-day time frame as well. I can say with confidence, like I said, again, you guys can do this program, and it's designed to assist in detoxifying that toxic burn we have talked about tonight. And I know it amazes me every time I go through this presentation how toxic our world really, really is. We also need to apply the essential micronutrients, phytonutrient, and clean protein to make sure the liver has everything it needs to function. And we're going to ultimately affect the health of our GI system. So again, the goals are simplified with this Core Restore kit. We are going to remove, restore, and revitalize. The one piece of advice I can give you is that it's not a bad idea to do the Core Restore kit multiple times a year, as I mentioned previously. Your body really can't have enough reset buttons. It's always good to get that liver cleaned up because, again, our body's not built for this environment. And the amount of toxins we come in contact with daily is really astronomical. So it's really based on an individual basis. Think of your exposure and then you decide. You can work with Dr. Truty as well, and she'll be able to answer all of your questions about how many times you might need to possibly do it. And I also have a questionnaire as well that I'll send over to Dr. Truty that she can forward out to all of you that you do fill out before and then also after your detox kit is over with. And to kind of put you on a good baseline average to show you really where you are. Some people are extremely toxic and some might not be as toxic, but we're all going to be toxic at some type of level. Let's see. So the first thing I want to talk about is our core support. And this is the powder that Dr. Truty was talking about right here. This is a powder that you're going to take through all 7 days. So what we're going to do in the beginning, as Dr. Truty mentioned, is we're going to clean up the back half on phase 2. We're going to get that back half of the engine revving up, which is going to help your liver work optimally so nothing gets stuck in the middle, which is the intermediate metabolites that we're talking about earlier, which is causing the nausea and headache and other detox kits that you might have done in the past. So what's in it? It has clean hypoallergenic rice protein, which is very bioavailable to the body, and it's very clean. We have fiber, and we also have vegetable enzymes to upregulate the back half of the liver. And we've also added N-acetylcarnitine, alpha-lipoic acid to increase the cellular energy and to help on a lot of the inflammation that might be occurring in our GI tract as well. Secondly, we're going to have alpha base, which is one of these little bottles that are in the kit. And then this is going to be the multivitamin. So I talked about how a lot of people are actually deficient in micronutrients. So it's important that we provide these key micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and high level of antioxidants. Antioxidants, if you guys don't know, are really going to help to combat the free radicals byproducts in our body. And good antioxidants are being revamped, such as vitamin C and E and zinc, which are going to help get rid of those toxins as well. Thirdly, we're going to have PhytoCore. This is going to be introduced on day 3, once your body in the second half has been cleaned up in a good manner. This product is designed to be a lipotropic, a chorolytic, and a cholagogue. Lipotropics help break down fat because of our liver. If we could take a picture of our liver, you'll see there's congestion in there, and that's actually fat. So we must use certain ingredients, such as the PhytoCore, which has a bunch of the phytonutrients, in order to break down that fat that's in the liver, in order to have a clean pathway through phase 1 and through phase 2. We're also going to use botanicals that are going to be choleretics and cholagogues. Cholagogues increase the production of bile, while cholagogues work on the expression of bile. So the most interesting part about our kit and why everybody loves them is the patient guide that comes along with them. Again, this is the 14-day that I'm about to start myself, but they all, like I said again, they all come with a patient handout guide. The first time I did the detox kit, I was nervous, because I thought I couldn't stick with it. I do a lot of traveling, so I thought it'd be really, really patient and uncompliant for me to do it. This really tells you what you can and cannot eat. We're going to remove the 8 most common food allergies as well during this detox. So it's a great way whenever you come off the detox to figure out, you can implement one at a time to figure out if you are allergic to any of them. You might not even think you were, because I actually never thought I was allergic to dairy, and I actually was after coming off a detox kit. We're going to tell you what to eat, what you can eat, when to eat certain products, and it tells you when to take the vitamins as well. My favorite part is really going to be the grocery list and also the recipes that are included with it as well. So again, if you're a big time traveler like I am myself, this is really easy for you to go somewhere and be able to be very compliant with. You can go shopping and it tells you everything you need. You don't need to do any additional research, which you can, and I'd suggest doing, but this is going to give you a whole little Bible, and it's very, very helpful as well. And this program as well is built for 7 to 14 days, but the patient handout book gives you so many recipes and guides. It can take you up to a 28-day as well. Now, the nutrients in here is all going to be the 7 or 14 day, but again, the patient handout book allows you to keep tracking for 28 days. Again, we don't want you to just detox one time and just forget about, going back to eating, poorly or poor lifestyle choices. We really want to have a good reset button and a good start after that as well. So talking about the patient protocol while we're doing the core restore. Exception to fasting, which is the first 2 days, is going to be a modified fast. Again, if there's certain people that can and cannot do this. If you have any type of blood sugar levels, I would definitely talk to Dr. Truty before doing anything like this. It's a recommended modified fast rather, because we're trying to really clean up and not fill up our livers too quickly. The first couple days, it recommends that you can take the powder twice a day, AM and PM, but feel free to break it out as much as possible. I know myself, whenever I'm going throughout my day, my body, my mind, I just need to take something into my body. It's just a mental thing. So you can break it up to 4 times a day if needed, if you're someone like me. So just to kind of start summing up a little bit, obviously you guys are all here because you guys are on some sort of health journey. I'm guessing you want to feel better, maybe even lose a little bit of weight. Again, we can't guarantee that you do lose weight on this program, but on average, patients lose around 8 to 12 pounds in just 7 days. Maybe you want more energy. I know that's why I do it and continue to do it. I'm on the road a lot and I need some type of pick me up, and this is a good restart button for me. Day 3 is really when you really start to feel really good. And when you're done with the program, you're going to feel like you have a new handle on life. And you're going to break out of, those old traditional bad habits that you may not think were bad habits, but you will realize once you're on the course or what certain things are good and good not to do. Again, the cool part is you're actually eliminated around the 8 most common food allergies you might be allergic to. And you'll feel better from that, just from that as well. Again, mine was dairy, and I never knew I was even allergic to it until I did this kit. This benefit is really this program really is going to benefit the entire body, and it just simply works, as Dr. Truty mentioned earlier too. Again, it comes in the 7 and 14 day kits. If you guys have any questions for me, definitely throw them down at the bottom. Other than that, like I said, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on here tonight and kind of let me give you guys a little more information. And I hope you guys took a little bit of nugget that might be helpful in your next health journey. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Truty.
Yes, I'm going to answer questions in a second. I just want to let everybody know that, we are, the kit costs $90. So if anybody's interested, just email me or give us a quick call and we will get the orders going. It's $95 for a 7-day kit for non-members, but members, we give you a $5 coupon. So it's $90 for members. That's the price that, we're running today to start off the new year. So, and again, I've done this kit. It is easy. It is simple to do. And you can feel really good about it. I know one patient asked me, do you take your regular vitamins? So if you take a multivitamin every day, I would stop taking whatever your multivitamin is every day. And I would take the multivitamin that is included with the kit, just because it is so comprehensive. And it makes sure that you get, because some multivitamins, to be honest with you, don't always have enough B vitamins as much as they can or they should. So, I would recommend that. I know one patient was asking about sugar, amount of sugar. So I was just looking at the core support, and the powder has a total of 13 grams of sugar, and the dietary fiber is 7. So, for those of you that don't know, fiber is classified as a sugar, but doesn't get absorbed. So, if you're looking at that, that's really only 6 grams of sugar in the Core Restore powder. And then the, capsules obviously don't contain any sugar. So really you're only looking at about 6 grams of sugar. And I challenge you to find very many foods that have only 6 grams of sugar, net sugar in them. So again, it is pretty safe for anybody who's diabetic to be able to use. So I definitely think if you have diabetes, it is something that you can do. The question might be a little bit of fasting, and certainly if anybody has any questions about that, just shoot me an email, and I can talk to you about that. But again, I know quite a few people do intermittent fasting. Yes, if you can, I would recommend trying to fast for those first 2 days, but I'm going to say that that's not an absolute criteria, but as best as you can, doing that is a good idea. This is pretty much plant-based. So, for anybody who's vegan, I believe it's plant-based. There's no dairy in here, Dylan, correct?
No, so we cannot market it as completely vegan, because in our multivitamin, there's a couple products in it, like our NAC, for instance, or N-acetyl-carnitine, is actually derived. I hope it doesn't gross anybody out, from sheep hair at times. So that's actually considered not vegan. Okay. That's one thing. And in their core support as well has our NAC. Again, it does have that, the NAC in it that is derived from sheep. So now we do not have any direct dairy products or anything like that, but that is the only reason why we cannot label it as vegan or vegetarian.
So, it's probably pretty close. If for you that strictness is required, then obviously it isn't a product for you, but it's probably pretty close to as vegan as you can get. Again, this, you can do this product with 7 days, 14 days, or 28 days. It's really just, kind of up to you, and where you feel you're at. It comes in chocolate and it comes in vanilla, the Core Restore powder, and it tastes pretty good. The vanilla you can obviously mix with, some other flavors like strawberries or stuff like that. So, we can order those in whatever type that you prefer. And certainly if you have a multivitamin that you really, really like because you're vegan or something, that can be substituted. But again, I probably would want to look at the label and just make sure that it's got all of the vitamins that we need to have. Because again, we're really trying to boost the liver and its efficiency doing this. People say, should we do blood work? It might be, it's kind of up to you if you want to baseline with where you are. Again, the kind of blood work would be dependent upon what you're really looking for. We have a couple different labs, Genova, ZRT, and we're going to be bringing on board doctor's data that all have some good toxin evaluation panels, but they're not, none of them are comprehensive. None of them have a panel that's, probably to the extent of what, is out there. So, they focus on probably some of the big main actors that we find in medicine are issues. So doing the blood work is really to you. If it's something like, okay, I want to get my blood work, I want to do this, and then I want to see what blood work is afterwards, especially if you're looking at doing something a little bit longer, absolutely, we can look at doing that. So, okay. So I think I've answered, most questions that everybody's had. So thank you very much, everybody, again, for joining us tonight. I know I want to keep it brief because sometimes things can go on too long. Certainly, if you have any questions, send me an email. Again, it's $90 for members with a $5 coupon that Darren sent out. Otherwise, it's $95. And just give us a call, and if we could get everybody's orders in the next 3 days, we'll probably send an order out and get those kits in for anybody who's interested. And that's the price for the 7-day. If you're interested in doing more, I can let you know. Obviously, it's obviously for 14 days, it's usually somewhere around twice that price, a little bit less than that. So thank you everyone for attending. Please let us know if you have any questions at all, and I can always email you the product info guides that Ortho Molecular has, or again, you can always go to their website. Just Google Ortho Molecular and products. Dylan, if you want to give me real quick the website.
So orthomolecular.com.
Yep.
And I'll be able to forward you over what I'm going to do to Dr. Truty. For everybody that joined on tonight, there's a really helpful questionnaire that is really good to do before and after. I really suggest everybody do that because that'll show you how toxic you are at one time, as well as a good baseline for people that are looking to be tested too. So I'll send it over to you as well. All
right. Sounds great. All right. Well, thank you very much all for joining tonight. Anything else, please reach out to us and be happy to answer any of your questions. Have a good evening and a healthy new year to everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dr. Truty.
Now I got to figure out how to end this.